Hello and welcome to another weekly Royal Reviewer live chat. And oh my goodness, what a week it's been. So much has happened, but we'll get down to all that in a moment. First of all, I'm just going to the chat window and straight away I can see Noreen Lynn. So good evening to Noreen, who says she's from South Gloucestershire in the good old UK. Hello to Abby Griffin. And hello to Kimberly Stevens, and you're from Kentucky, and Abby is from where I am. Final girl Candice says hi there to Candice. Candice, one of my patrons on Patreon. You have to get that the right way around. And hello to Nina. So whilst we're going through all the hellos, I just got to comment on what an amazing week it's been. I keep thinking week on week on week, it can't get any busier in the royal family. And then this week just goes and blows it completely out of the water yet again with the royal revelations even about Prince Philip. So in a moment, we're going to get to the Prince Philip issue of the week. Just going to do a few more hellos first. Hello to Caroline. Hello to MSMB. From California. Hello to Emily Rose. Hello to Ohio. Hello to Kimberly. And Kimberly says, thank you for the video of Harry and Meghan. Yes, that was breaking news. So about 7:30 UK time, the story came out that Prince Harry had been at an official polo charity event at Ascot. He was playing polo for Centre Barley and Wellchild, I do believe. And Meghan Markle was there. So that proves Meghan Markle is actually in the UK right now as we speak, staying with him at Nottingham Cottage, his home at Kensington Palace. And she attended this official polo event with Harry, and she was seen cheering him on. And if you watch the video, you can see all the details. And this is a big occasion because it's the first official event she has been at. So although we've seen them in public a little bit, this was the very first big event, so please go and watch that video. And also it raises the question, is Prince Harry hoping to take Meghan with him to Pippa Middleton's upcoming wedding, which I believe is in round about 15 days time? Okay, Kay Let's Play says, who is your favourite royal? Well, my favourite royal at the moment, living royal, would probably be Prince Harry, for his compassion and his hard work. And I think he seems to go the extra mile on his royal engagements. Let me know what you think. Dawn Moore says, hi everyone, and you hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend so far. I know I have. What about you guys? Marilyn Nestler says, hello Elliot. Hello to Marilyn. Abby says, I feel so bad for Philip. He said he can't barely stand. The newspaper said that. Yes, if you watch my video about Prince Philip's retirement, I actually post a video footage clip where he did actually say that. But I don't think we should take that literally. Of course he can stand up. He was joking. It's one of his famous sort of joking nature that he has. And sometimes they turn into what we call in the UK a gaffe, where he kind of puts his foot in it. But this was just a joke. There was a man he was talking to who was of similar age to him, possibly a little bit younger, and he was speaking to him about his retirement. And Prince Philip joked back that yes, he can, never mind standing down, I can barely stand up. So that was his joke. It was humorous. And if you want to go and see that clip, you can see it on my video. Noreen says, yes, I love that video of Harry and Meghan. And Tim made it, so hello to Tim. Kimberly says, I looked hard at her fingers. Yes, no ring yet, but keep looking at the fingers. Tim says, gosh, what a scare for many of us. Thursday evening with Prince Philip. Oh my goodness. I was in bed, obviously. The news broke in the UK around about 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 a.m. I was in bed, so I didn't get any news that there was anything happening until I woke up. And then it was absolute torture all day. I had to wait until 10 o'clock in the morning before I found out what it was all about. Of course, I was at work, so I couldn't do a video straight away. I had to wait until I got home. So it was a very torturous day for me. But eventually I made it and was able to make the video. And what news it was! Prince Philip standing down from royal duties after 70 plus years of supporting the Queen. And now, of course, this doesn't mean that we're never going to see him again. Of course we are. He's still going to be at the key main events, Trooping the Colour, State Opening of Parliament, family events that are on the TV. He just won't be doing official day-to-day royal engagements for the charities that he's patron of. He will still remain patron of those charities. He's not standing down, but he won't be conducting day-to-day engagements, or he won't be taking any new engagements on. He's going to honour his commitments up until his summer Balmoral break, and then in the autumn, October time, when he comes back from Balmoral, he won't be doing any public engagements for those charities. But he has said that he will pick and choose. If he wants to do something, he'll do it. If he doesn't want to, he won't. If he wants to accompany the Queen on one of her events, he might do it. So we still don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but basically it's on his terms and he can do what he wants. So although we can say it's a retirement, I would say it's more like a semi-retirement. Now I'm just going to go up. While I've been talking, I've missed quite a few messages, so let's go up. Susan says, send greetings to my sweetheart Harry, and can you please send me any London cards to you? Well, let's hope Prince Harry and Meghan are watching me right now. So if so, Susan is your sweetheart. Kay Let's Play says, totally agree. Hello to Rana. Marsha says, hi all. Tim says, Elliot, the internet and Facebook was flooded with rumours about Prince Philip that he died. And I cried and then saw photos of the flag half-mast on the palace. I later found out it was photoshopped. Yes, speculation was rife. But of course, if there had been a death, nothing would have been announced until the morning. And I think there would have been an announcement around about 8 o'clock. I think that's what the plan is for the Queen's funeral. So, not funeral, for her eventual death. So that would have likely happened with Philip had he died. But of course he hadn't, so we didn't have to go through that. Caroline says, I am in Kentucky for the Derby. Of course, the famous, world famous Kentucky Derby. Tim says, all my friends were texting me and sending me Facebook messages. I seriously thought he or she had passed away. I was so scared. Well, of course, he is 95 going on 96. Eventually, that will happen. Abby says, well done. And Nancy says, do you have sound or video, Nancy from London, Ontario? Ohio says, yes, the Philip news is really annoying. News about the emergency meeting began circulating around 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. The Sun and Royal Central, etc., all said he died. Well, they all got it wrong. My speculation, when I woke up before the news was released, was that perhaps the royals may have been moving away from Buckingham Palace while the renovation work was being carried out. My second thought was maybe a retirement, but I must admit I didn't really think there was a death. Noreen says, where's everyone from? And I think I've just mentioned where a lot of people are from. MSMB says, Harry's my favourite as well. He reminds me so much of Diana. Yes, and in the video that I put out yesterday or today, I can't quite remember, of Harry cradling young Ollie. Now, Ollie is a little boy with Batten's disease. It's incurable, so he's terminally ill. Prince Harry met Ollie back in October, I do believe. Now, I did make a video at the time. The little boy was sort of helped to stand up and hug Harry at the Well Child Awards for 2016. Now, in the time that it's gone from October up till now, Ollie has deteriorated so much that he can no longer stand up, and Harry literally had to hold him in his arms. And it was not an official visit, it was something, a private visit. Photos were released because Ollie has a donation page to help fight Batten's disease. So his parents allowed the photos to be released to help promote that page. So hopefully people can donate to the page. And if you look on my video, I have put the website on there. So if you want to make a donation to Ollie's fund, then please go on there and do. It's a very worthwhile cause, and unless there's money put into these types of research for these at the moment incurable diseases, then there will never be a brighter future for these children. But let's just hope that Prince Harry made an impact on Ollie's life while he can, and I'm sure that won't be the last time that Ollie gets to meet Harry. Abby says, if your videos go over 1,000 views, hang on a minute, I think I've missed the first part of your question, Abby. And I think your computer froze. So if you ask me your question again, I will answer it. Tim says you're in Nashville, but you're heading to London in 34 days. Is that how long it is? Wow. I remember you telling me about it when you first booked. Nancy Colbert says hello. And Noreen says hello. Marsha is a second viewer from Chicago. And Dawn says, with the Duke of Edinburgh retiring, and Harry William will be taking on more to cover the patronages. What about Andrew taking on more? Was not at the Easter Church with daughters. Right, basically, there was a big thing in the papers about Andrew being the Queen's main +1. I don't think Prince Andrew will be. I think it will fall more to William. And I think that was quite evident this week when Prince William accompanied the Queen to Buckingham Palace to meet. Now I always get this name wrong. I have to. Aung San Suu Kyi, who is the Burmese de facto ruler. Now she was at Buckingham Palace, and of course Prince William was the +1. So I think that's sending a message that it will be William in training. So I think William will be using the fact that his grandfather's no longer by his grandmother's side at these type of royal engagements to learn a little bit more about how to be a king. So I think William will be stepping up more. Charles doesn't really need to. I think he's had all the training he needs. But I think William will be using it as a chance to hone his kingship skills. Of course, the others will be stepping up. Edward and Andrew and Charles and Camilla will be doing more. William and Harry and Catherine will also be. Of course, William's moving back to London full time. So you can see all the pieces of the jigsaw coming together. I think this has been planned for quite a long time. Steve says, I don't understand why an emergency meeting was called to announce Philip standing down. I think probably it wasn't an emergency meeting. I think that's something put out by the press. It was just a meeting for his household staff. And I think the meeting happened because he felt like perhaps he owed it to the people that have worked for him to make a proper announcement. Because of course, some of these people may not be in jobs anymore. If they've been part of his household, and his household is winding down, some of them might even be losing jobs. Ohio says, when you find time, can you please explain again what happened with Water Hall? It was sold, and I thought Harry was the only one looking at the property. You mentioned another home he might inherit. Yes, Water Hall must have fell through because when I checked back on the, well, actually, I was looking for planning permission applications, and someone did put one in for the property, but it wasn't Harry. So unless Harry's bought it via another person to keep it on the down low, which is a possibility, but I don't think so, then he hasn't bought Water Hall. So for whatever reason, that fell through. The other property was the property that Margaret Rhodes, the Queen's cousin, was living in up until her death last year, and that is the garden cottage at Windsor Castle. So I think possibly, now that that's vacant, that could be possibly given to Harry, but we'll have to wait and see. I would imagine it would need some renovations first. Emily says, why do we never see Prince Edward's children? We do see them at family events that are public. We see them at Trooping the Colour, for example. We see them at weddings. I just think that they're trying to keep a private life as much as they can for their children. Abby says, me and my dad wondered this question. What will happen if Meghan and Harry get married? Can Meghan join the British royal family as she is American? Yes, there is no law to say that someone from another country can't marry into the royal family. Of course, it's been a tradition, a long-standing tradition, that the royals do marry abroad. Back in the Tudor times, Henry VIII married Spanish Catherine of Aragon and European princesses. It's only in recent times, sort of the last 150 years, where British royals haven't married abroad. So there's no bar with the fact that she's American. There's no bar with the fact that she's biracial. And there's no bar with the fact that she's a Roman Catholic. All of those obstacles have been overcome. So there's no reason why he can't marry Meghan and why she can't become a member of the British royal family. And I hope that answers your question. Tim says, good question. Can Meghan be a Duchess if she's American? Yes. Simple answer is yes. Wallis Simpson was made a Duchess. So Meghan can do. But Meghan will likely get the HRH as well. Marsha says, you look very royal, Elliot. Love the brooch. Thank you. This is Queen Victoria, a replica of Queen Victoria's double bow brooch, which the Queen wears fairly regularly. So let's see if we can spot next when the Queen wears it. Abby says, my statement was, well done. Some of your live chats have gone over 1,000 views. Yes, they have. Not the last one, but the one before got over 1,500. I was absolutely amazed. She says, your channel has grown really well. Well done. Thank you very much. And I did actually write down some stats about that. So I now have 7,600 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. And 4.85 million views. So nearly 5 million views. And I just completely blown away. It's amazing. And thank you to everyone who comes back and watches my videos, joins in the live chat and likes and comments and shares. I really do appreciate it. Dawn Moore says, but where is Andrew? I've not heard anything about him lately. He's just carrying on with his day-to-day royal duties, and things have been just fairly low-key for him. There's no real reason why he's not been in the press much. In fact, it might be a good idea that he's not in the press, given the fact that sometimes when he is, it's for not very favourable reasons. Emily says, does Harry live close to Catherine and William? He doesn't when they're in Anmer, which is their Norfolk home. When they're in Anmer, he may even stay with them because they do have quite a large home, Anmer Hall, or he may stay in the nearby Sandringham, which is the Queen's private estate. When he's in London, he lives at Kensington Palace, which is close to William and Catherine and Charlotte and George. William and Catherine live in the main palace building in an apartment, Queen Margaret's old apartment, which is apartment 1A, which they had renovated upon their marriage. And Harry lives in Nottingham Cottage, which was a former staff cottage. It is very quaint and actually quite small. William and Harry have previously said that they've had to stoop under the beams to get by in parts of the cottage. So it's not terribly large, which is why I think that they're going to move the staff accommodation out of the palace, and they're having a basement extension built under the orangery. And I think that's to free up Diana's old apartments, which is where their offices are, for Harry and Meghan, should they get married and move in. So that's what I think. Abby says, do I have a posting timetable? No, I just have a basic aim that I try to do one video a day. Sometimes loads of stories come at once. It's a bit like waiting for a bus. You know, sometimes they all come at once, or waiting for a train. So sometimes I do more than others. Sometimes it's time dependent if I have time to make them. But basically I try to do one a day. Kimberly says, lovely flowers again in your vase. Thank you very much. I do have new flowers this week. I've gotten quite used to having fresh flowers now. Of course, I do have my fake one, which I put in from time to time, but I do prefer fresh. And actually, my patrons on Patreon got to see those flowers first because I showed them. So if you want to see my flowers first, then go to Patreon, which is Royal Reviewer on Patreon. The link is in every single video, so just follow the link and you can become a Royal Reviewer patron and get exclusive content. So head on down there. There's also lots of rewards too, like an exclusive Facebook group. And also if you're a $10 a month subscriber, you get a signed birthday and Christmas card from me. Abby says goodbye, so goodbye to Abby. And say hello to Gemma for me. Hello, Gemma. Emily says, is it true that Harry's future children would not be known as princes or princesses? Well, this is interesting because if Harry was to have children now, technically they wouldn't. However, if the Queen passed away and Prince Charles was king, then they would automatically become princes and princesses. But that's not to say that the Queen or Charles might issue some kind of change to that. The Queen could issue letters patent to make them princes or princesses. But as it stands, no, while the Queen is alive, but when she passes away, yes, they would, because it would bump everyone up the line, if that makes sense. David Penner says, what is going on with the Parliament elections? Why did the Queen talk with Theresa May? So, for those of you who aren't British, it's our way that when there's going to be an election, in particular a snap election, Theresa May, the Prime Minister, has to visit the Queen to formally request a dissolution of Parliament, which means the government effectively finishes until the election. So all of our ministers, our MPs, go off to campaign for their party to be elected. So the Queen has to rubber stamp and sign, and Parliament is dissolved. So that's why our Prime Minister Theresa May went to visit the Queen at Buckingham Palace. So the Queen had to come back for that. It's all fairly formal, but it's the way we do things in Britain. Kimberly says bye bye Abby. MSNB says bye Abby. Nancy says thank you for keeping info honest and contemporary. Yes, there are lots of fake news channels out there. I've spoke about them in previous weeks. Please don't be fooled. And I have my tea. Ohio says, has the Dateline special on Diana aired in the UK yet? No, not yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it. Becky says, today is the Kentucky Derby that the Queen herself attended a few years ago. Well, of course, we know the Queen loves horses, so given the chance to attend the Kentucky Derby, no wonder she elected it. Norman says, the Queen spoke with Theresa May to formally dissolve Parliament so that politicians can suspend normal duties to campaign in the election, which is just what I said. Tim says, can anyone explain why state opening is going to be low-key, no crown or music? Yes, it's because of the snap election. So trooping the colour is always on the same date each week. It's not each week, each year. And basically the state opening was only going to be a little bit away. Because of the election, the state opening was going to be earlier on in the year. So it's been put back, which means that Trooping the Colour and the state opening are now only 3 days apart, I do believe, which means that they couldn't rehearse and prepare for the two at the same time. So the state opening is still going ahead, but all the ceremonial has been dropped in favour of Trooping the Colour. So there won't be, the Queen will be arriving by car, the crown will be carried in front of her, that's the imperial state crown. There will be low-key regalia, people won't have necessarily all the costumes, so it will just be a low-key event, which actually might be slightly more interesting. I mean, it's certainly different to what we normally get. So for me reporting on it, it will be very interesting to see the difference. So basically that's what's going on. And because of the snap election, which is on Garter Day has also been dropped. Annette says, good videos this week, Elliot, thanks. I have to go, but I'll watch on catch up. Good night. Goodbye to Annette, and yes, if ever you miss anything, you can always watch on catch up. H.A. Bracken says, hi Elliot, I have to say that seeing the Prince Philip's retirement announcement has made me a little sad. End of an era. It is the end of an era, but he hasn't gone away. I still think we'll be seeing plenty of him. He just won't be doing the day-to-day formal events. David says, what is the moderator name? Moderator for what? Unless I've missed a bit of your question, please let me know what moderator you mean. Tim says, so who is running against Theresa May? Are they electing a new Prime Minister? Yes, so it's a Prime Minister election, but when we have these elections, it's also for the whole government. So the Prime Minister and the political party stand together. So it could be a complete change of political party and Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is standing, Theresa May, with the Conservative Party. We have Jeremy Corbyn for Labour. We have Tim Farron for the Liberal Democrats. And then there's the Green Party and UKIP, the UK Independence Party. And of course, the national parties as well, for Scotland and Wales, are also being voted for their elections too. Of course, Wales being a principality, and their votes go in with the English votes too. Susan says, good night. How's our Queen? God be with Queen One Love. And the Queen is doing very well. She was out and about this week, and she looked very healthy and very happy to me. David says, what time is it in the UK? It is now 28 minutes past 10. Vanal or Candice says, it must be quite difficult for you sometimes trying to make videos when you work full time, especially when so much happens so quickly in the royal family. Yes, and I think sometimes I probably need to be a bit more lenient on myself and say that if I can't do it, then I can't. Because sometimes if I don't get around to doing it or doing it on time, I sometimes beat myself up about it, and I probably shouldn't. Emily says, can you explain the letters patent? Well, it's basically something that the Queen can sign, with which she has power over to change. So it's basically things to do with the royals themselves. So if the Queen wanted to change the titles of a royal, that would be under letters patent, or what a royal member is entitled to. So the Queen issued a letters patent to make it that Charlotte, Princess Charlotte, if she was born first, could have been the first in line to the throne, for example. So the Queen can make those changes because it's something she has power over, and they are called letters patent. I might make a video about that and explain it a little bit better. So you've given me a good idea. Noreen says it is 10:26 here in the UK. It's now 10:30. Becky Scott says, do you think that George and Charlotte will be included in Pippa's wedding? George is apparently page boy and Charlotte flower girl. David says, is Camilla and Prince Charles having problems? No, that is part of the fake news. There is one channel in particular on YouTube called The Top Half, who is just putting out almost hourly stories about Camilla. It's basically an indulgence in Camilla bashing, and it's all completely fake stories. So if you're subscribed to that channel, please unsubscribe, because they're basically preying on people that aren't from the UK, who don't know exactly what's going on. And when people see those stories, some people believe them, and it's just not true, and they really shouldn't be doing it. It's not right. David says it's 4:30 in Chicago. Tim says, I support the Duke of Edinburgh completely. He's over 35 years of retirement age. Yes, he's worked well beyond the normal retirement age, and he deserves to rest and relax. I completely agree. Slightly winding down, but he's not out of the picture altogether. Tim says, please say Jeremy Corbyn is not running. He's running, although I think he should be running away. Dawn says, I actually watched some of those horrid videos just to get a good laugh. They are vile, and I can't believe that people are putting it out there. Some people are ridiculous. Why can the royal family not sue them? basically, it's just not their style. They don't tend to comment on fake news. They just kind of hope that people realise that it is fake. But some people don't, and some of the comments I'm getting in my videos are basically reutterances of this channel, and I just don't know why they're even being allowed to put it out there. I think we should all go and report it. Kimberly says, is there any new age regressions or photos of Prince George and Princess Charlotte? Oh, I see what you mean. You mean, are there any projections of what they might look like? I haven't seen any, but maybe there are on Google. Maybe I'll have a look. But of course, we did see the second birthday photograph released, taken by Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, of Charlotte for her second birthday. And I made a video about who she looked like. Was it the Queen? Was it Carol Middleton? Was it Diana? I hope you watched it. Please let me know who you think. And she looked very, very cute. Noreen says, at Pippa's wedding, George will be a page boy and Charlotte bridesmaid or flower girl. Yes, that is correct. Becky says, do you think there will be very many celebrations this year since Diana's death? There's not going to be an official, for example, for the 10-year anniversary of her death, there was a big concert. That's not going ahead. There's a display of her dresses at Kensington Palace. There's a new memorial garden outside Kensington Palace, which is the old sunken garden, which has been replanted. And there's supposed to be a statue. Now, I don't know whether the statue is going to be unveiled this year or whether it was just commissioned this year and it might be next year. But there is supposed to be a new statue, and I don't know whereabouts it's going to be sited or what the design is. But as soon as I know, I will be making a video on that. Kimberly says, hope Pippa's wedding is on my day off. Well, I'm not sure. I can't remember the exact date, so if someone shows me the date, I will see if I'm off. If it's a weekend, then that's fine. Dawn says, never beat yourself up about that, Elliot. Just think of the wonderful job you have working with challenging children. Prince Harry would commend you for that. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. And Kimberly agrees. And Nancy and Becky. Oh dear says, how many children and grandchildren does Camilla have? Now, off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure, so I'm not going to say a number, but she does have a lot more than Charles. And of course, she has sort of step-grandchildren as well from Charles's side. But please, someone Google it and let us all know. I can't remember off the top of my head. Ohio says, what has been my favourite royal news story this week that no one has noticed or talked about? I'm not sure. I think lots has been talked about. There were some low-key events, I think, by Princess Anne, which I didn't have time to report on because there were so many big stories. I think Camilla did some other events as well, which I didn't have time to make videos on. So these little stories do happen a lot, but the main ones are the ones that get talked about. Nancy said, here we go. Camilla has 2 children and 5 grandkids. Well, I knew about the 2 children. I just wasn't sure how many grandchildren she had. So 5, the total is 5. And if you count, I suppose if you count William and Harry as kind of, step kids, then there's Charlotte and George to add into the mix as well. So Hello. Ah, there we go. So I think you can hear me now. Okay, please type if you can hear me now. I think I've just had a little tinkering around with the computer. Aha, right. Please let me know what was I talking about when the sound went, and I'll go back and say it all again. There we go. I don't know what happened. The sound kind of froze on me, and I can't remember what I was even talking about. I think David Penner was asking about the moderator. Yes, my name is Elliot, for those of you who don't know, and I am a royal reviewer, so I am the voice that you hear on the videos. And I think I was saying when the sound went off that the 20th, which is Pippa's wedding, which Nina told me is a Saturday, so I'm off for that. And I think I was talking about Princess Charlotte being a cutie, which is what Kimberly said. Ah, okay, so the sound went off and I was talking about Camilla's children. So, I can't remember who it was now, but someone put that she has 2 children, which of course I knew, but she has 5 grandchildren. So, I suppose if you count Charlotte and George as step-grandchildren, she has 7 grandchildren, which is a lot more than Prince Charles. Okay, Candice says, I loved your superhero costume. So for those of you who don't know, on Patreon, if you're a patron that supports this channel, then you get exclusive behind the scenes sneak peeks or snapshots into my life. And this week was Superhero Day in the UK, which was Friday. And I dressed up as the Royal Defender. And I took a picture of myself at where I work and I posted it for patrons. So it's an exclusive for patrons, Royal Reviewer on Patreon. So www.patreon.com/Royal Reviewer. The link is in every video and you get to see me wearing my royal superhero costume. And it was really funny and I really enjoyed the day, and the children who I work with really enjoyed it too. So I'm really glad that Candice liked my costume. It was basically a replica polyester Prince William wedding outfit costume with a cape and a mask. And I was the Royal Defender, and I kept jumping out of the room to go off and save the royals from certain doom. But not at lunchtime, because even a superhero has got to eat. Oh dear says, we are all looking forward to your coverage of the upcoming wedding. I'm looking forward to it too. I think we'll see a lot going in and out of the actual wedding. Noreen says, Camilla has 2 children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez, formerly Parker Bowles. David says, Elliot, nice to meet you via video. It's nice to meet everyone, and I welcome all new people to the live chats. Odia says, is Camilla's marriage to Charles her second or third? Second. Yes, yeah, second. It is second. Catherine says, I saw your video with Princess Charlotte and the other baby pictures, and I thought she looked most like William, which is why I think she looks like Diana. You were surprised because you always thought she looked more like the Queen. I've always said Diana. And I think as time goes on, apart from the colouring, I think we'll see her grow to look a lot like Diana. But let's wait and see. Of course, children do change with their appearances all the time. Kimberly can't wait for the coverage of Pippa's wedding too. Noreen says, Tom Parker Bowles is a restaurant reviewer. He is. He also does restaurant classes. I would love to attend one. That would be pretty cool. You went to a restaurant that he reviewed. Nancy says, Camilla is on her second marriage. Noreen says, super Elliot, yes. Letter says, just a reminder everyone, the that Prince Charles and Diana's marriage was fine, and it wasn't. I think time will reveal the status of Prince Charles and the Duchess's marriage. Again, lots of people have their own opinions about Prince Charles and Diana's marriage, and we spoke a lot about that last week. Sweet Pea says, how do you think the Duke of Edinburgh's retirement is going to affect the Duke of Cambridge and the Prince of Wales's life? Well, of course, I mean, the Prince of Wales works very hard anyway. I can't really see how, apart from state ceremonials, I can't really see how he can do more royal engagement. So I think largely the bulk of the work will be taken up by Andrew, Edward. Princess Anne is pretty much working at capacity, so I don't think she'll be able to take on much more. Again, the bulk will be taken up by William, Catherine and Harry, but mostly William and Harry probably. And of course, when they're at capacity, perhaps Princess Eugenie and Beatrice can get a bit of a look in too. Sweet Pea says, oh, I've already read Sweet Pea's question. Becky Scott says, I simply love this. I love all things royal and Diana. Brooches says, I lost the volume but have visual. Oh no. Can you hear me again? I'm just going to go and check to see if the speaker is working. I think it is. Yes, so for me, the speaker is showing as working. Michael says, hi there, happy to be part of this chat. Which of the Queen's children or in-laws do you like the most? And the same with the grandchildren. The Queen's children that I like the most, of course I like Charles, but I quite like Edward. Edward's pretty cool. I like his family unit, and probably one of my favourites of his grandchildren. Probably, I'm most intrigued by Princess Louise. Well, not Princess Louise. She's entitled to be a Princess Louise, but Lady Louise, Mountbatten Windsor. I'm quite intrigued by her, and I think she looks like the Queen. Out of all of the family, I definitely think Lady Louise looks like the Queen. Peregrine in 1946 says, I think that Charlotte looks like Queen Mary. Well, again, we're going to have to just wait and see, and she'll probably we'll probably all change our opinions of who she looks like over time. Dawn Moore says, I think Charlotte is a good mix of William and Diana and the Queen with Catherine's colouring. Yes, I mean, that could be pretty much what she turns out to look like. David Penner says, Elliot, what's going to happen with Gibraltar with the Brexit? I watched a segment on World News in the USA. I lived in Spain and travelled past Gibraltar. Well, as we all know, Gibraltar is part of the UK, even though it's closest to Spain. It's in the Mediterranean. Basically, Brexit won't affect who Gibraltar, who is the sovereign nation of which Gibraltar belongs to. When we joined the EU, there was nothing in the agreement to say that we were surrendering Gibraltar to Europe. So if we leave, Gibraltar leaves with us. But basically, Europe wanted to give Spain a veto on anything to do with Gibraltar, which I don't think we are going to recognise as a sovereign nation. So I don't think there will be any change to Gibraltar, apart from there may have to be some kind of new agreement about how people enter and leave Gibraltar. I think there's a big bridge that connects mainland Europe to Gibraltar, so there will have to be some kind of agreement made, or you know, passport controls put in, some kind of increased border control. But basically, Spain can't take Gibraltar off the UK. Ohio says, Loretta, no one stays same. People grow and learn. Camilla is the love of his life. They look, yes, I agree. I think that they are the love of each other's life, and the past is the past, and Diana and Charles just weren't right for each other. They couldn't give each other what they both needed. Emily says, when will Eugenie get married? Again, we're waiting. We are waiting for the announcement. A1 says, screen is lagging and latency is a problem. Oh no. I'm afraid there's nothing much I can do about it. Oh dear says, I used to enjoy watching the documentaries Edward used to make. Yeah, well, I think that put him under a lot of pressure with the media, so he doesn't do that anymore. Loretta says, I rebooted and you can hear me now. Sweet Pea says, do you think Prince Harry will get married to Meghan Markle? At the moment, yes, I think all the signs are encouraging that she's making the transition into being a royal girlfriend that's not just been announced as a royal girlfriend, but a royal fiance, I should say, and a future royal wife. And unless anything, unless anything particularly happens in between sort of now and a wedding announcement, I think she's on course to be Harry's wife. Kimberly says, I hope Princess Charlotte has her mother's face shape. And Noreen says, apparently Prince Charles had an affair with a woman called Susan Townsend whilst married to Camilla. As they say, when you marry a mistress, you create a vacancy. I don't think that's true. I really don't. I think Prince Charles is completely devoted to Camilla and she to him. Emily says, where's Animal Hall? It's in Norfolk, which is near the Queen's Sandringham estate, which is where she goes for Christmas, for those of you who want to know. Becky says, what does the British think of Donald Trump? People have varied opinions in the UK about Donald Trump, which I think is pretty much the same as in America. Some people really love Donald Trump and some people, think he's the devil reincarnate. I just think we need to wait and see what he can deliver for Americans in America. Let's give him a chance at least. Sweet Pea says Norfolk. Ned says Trump is an embarrassment to your country. Becky says amen to Ned. And Kimberly says, yes, I like the video of Edward making Edward documentaries. Ned says, I wish I lived in England. And Kimberly says, I think that was the name, I might be wrong. Sweet Pea agrees. And Noreen says, Animal Hall is near Sandringham in the county of Norfolk, northeast of London. Yes. Dawn says, do you think Eugenie has to wait to see what Harry will do first? No, I don't think she's being put off by that. I think she's being put off by the fact it was leaked to the media, and I don't think she wants to be beholden to the media. I think she wants to announce it when she wants to announce it. MSNB says Trump is an embarrassment, and A1 says, Elliot, you should be a politician. I nearly was once. Trump says, what a gracious opinion you shared. Well done. Thank you. I did once, I was kind of selected to be a local councillor for my area, but I couldn't do it because of my job. Because I work for the local government, it was deemed to be a conflict of interest. So I wasn't able to do it whilst I'm doing the job that I'm doing. So I nearly very much was a politician. Sweet Pea says, do you think Prince Andrew will remarry Sarah Ferguson? Oh, no, I think they probably quite like their lives the way they are. Personally, I would like them to. I think they do make a good couple, despite the problems that they've had. So I wish they would, but well, again, it's one of those things, like with many royal personal matters, you have to just wait and see what happens. We can speculate, as we say in the UK, until the cows come home, but we're never going to know officially until something has been announced. Emily says, how does Eugenie and Cressida know each other? Through Harry, basically. Cressida was Harry's girlfriend, as we know, and they're round about the same kind of age, so they know each other from the same kind of social circuit. Marilyn says, let's keep on topic, which is about the royals, not American politics. Basically, I'll answer any question that's put to me. Sweet Pea says, I think Prince Andrew would be amazing if they do. Again, yes, I would dearly like them to. But that's up to them, and it is, of course, a private matter. Okay, one story that I did want to speak about. Now, you know, I'm averse to Camilla bashing, and this isn't Camilla bashing, but it was a little snippet that Camilla released herself, and that is that she was called, girls used to call her at her school the Growler. So it's Camilla the Growler. And it's because she has apparently a terrible growler singing voice. So Camilla was at BBC Radio 2, and of course she's been involved with 500 creative words, and she met singer Debbie Harry from Blondie, and she told Debbie Harry that she was called the Growler because when she sings she sounds like she's growling. So I kind of thought that nickname was rather funny. So in case anyone thought I was Camilla bashing in my title, she said it herself. She was called the Growler. So there you go. Camilla the Growler. I would love to know what she sounds like when she's singing. Other than that, it sounds a little bit like a growl. So I did have a bit of a laugh at that story. And of course, Prince Edward did speak out in the British media today about his father's retirement. And he basically just said that it's really good that his father can pick and choose what he wants to do now. And that he thought that there was sort of not a retirement age to being a royal. I think his father had always said that you don't retire, that you're always royal. And he kind of joked to the media that perhaps now there is a cut-off point and that a precedent has been set so that a royal can retire, although that age is, you know, the bar is set high. 95 is the bar. So perhaps we may see the Queen making a similar announcement when she reaches 95. So I've got to the end of my list. So basically it's over to you guys now. And we have almost, I suppose, spoke about everything that I've written down anyway. I can always guarantee that you guys always come up with stuff. So please let me know anything you want answering. Kimberly says, do you think the young royals, by marrying commoners, is going to affect how the people of the UK think of the royal family? No, I think the people of the UK believe in love and believe in people marrying for love and not position. I think if people thought that Prince Harry, for example, was having to marry a foreign princess from a different country that he didn't even know, I think people would be pretty shocked and appalled that he was being made to do that. I think arranged marriages in the UK is a concept that most UK citizens wouldn't necessarily understand or agree with. I know arranged marriages is common in other nations, but in the UK, I don't think it's the in thing. It's not the thing to do. So marrying for love is now acceptable, and if that means it's a commoner, then that's fine. Becky says, do you think Catherine and William will have more children? If they are going to have them, I think they'll be having them soon. As we know, Catherine comes from a family of 3 siblings, 2 other siblings, so there's 3 siblings in the family, I should point out. So it wouldn't be alien for her to want 3 children of her own. And if she was going to have them, I could possibly, you know, now would be a good time to be having them. There's, you know, a close enough gap between all of them. And I think having them, you know, as a similar age range would be good, because that's kind of what her family did. So if she is going to have them, I think it will be soon. But of course, again, we have to wait and see. Oh dear says, I read somewhere that Sarah was asked to leave the house at Windsor. I wonder if they are going to make the house available to Harry if he should marry Meghan. I think that was when she visited, but she was invited. And I think, see, at Sandringham or Windsor, there isn't although they're massive places, there isn't an abundance of space. And it may just have been that she stayed the time that she was invited for, but I don't think she was necessarily asked to leave because of a particular reason. A1 says growler is seen in New Zealand as a very rude and derogatory word to use in association with woman. Yes, in the UK, it's also been used as that, and is not associated with one's voice at all. In this country, it can, or maybe the word has a triple meaning. To growl, and being a growler when singing, I suppose. You could link. It's a tenuous link, but she said it herself. I'm not making this up. It is completely true. Okay. Let me see. I'm screen then. H.A. Bracken says, where's Jamie today? Yes, where is Jamie? Perhaps he's lurking again to see if we notice that he's not there. Jamie, if you're lurking, do show yourself. Loretta says, didn't Princess Diana say Prince Charles said he wouldn't be the first king without a mistress? Basically, I think yes, in history, kings and princes of Wales and next in line to the thrones have had mistresses. So no, he wouldn't be the first. MSNB says, why is William's last name Wales and not Windsor? Well, of course, he's from the House of Windsor, but royals take, I suppose, they don't normally have a last name as such. They normally go by title, and since Prince William was son of the Prince of Wales, his territorial designance was of Wales, so he was always known as Prince William of Wales, Prince Harry of Wales. When they get older, usually royals drop the of Wales bit in favour of title. So when Prince William became Duke of Cambridge, he was just simply known as Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge. So there is no need to use Windsor or indeed Wales. But of course, up until the point he got a title, he was using Wales as his surname. I think on one of his army uniforms, and Harry did this as well, it said Wales. So they do use Wales. They have used it in the past as a surname, but they haven't really used Windsor. But of course, they are from the House of Windsor. Catherine says, in today's world, do royals still marry other royals? They can do. It's not unallowed. Basically, they can marry who they want. That's the whole point of it. I think lots of foreign royal families tend to like to marry status, but I think in the UK it's becoming common for people to marry commoners or just marry for love. Hello to Snowflake. Okay, now I think here we go. So I'm scrolling down because I think again I've missed some questions. Kimberly says, didn't Diana have royal blood in her? Yes, I think she went back to, her blood went back to James I, I think. So yes, she did have royal blood in her. So again, I suppose it all comes back to the same kind of bloodline. MSNB says, that's so interesting. Thanks for explaining. And Dawn says, so Charlotte and George go by Cambridge. Yes. So their territorial designation is of Cambridge. So that's why they're Prince George and Princess Charlotte of Cambridge. When they get older and they get their own dukedom titles, or Princess Charlotte becomes the Princess Royal when Princess Anne no longer is alive to hold the title, they'll be known by those titles and not Windsor. And yes, when Prince William becomes Prince of Wales, they will be Prince George and Princess Charlotte of Wales. HT Bracken says all the heirs apparent and reigning European royalty married commoners. Well, there you go. So it's a common trend across Europe. What is unknown at the moment is whether the Duke of Cambridge will retain the Duke of Cambridge title when he also inherits the Dukedom of Cornwall and becomes a Prince of Wales. So if he does keep a hold of that title, he could, in theory, make Prince George the Duke of Cambridge, even if George is a young child. So that's one thing we're not sure of at the moment. Noreen says, yes, Diana had the blood of Charles II, but illegitimately. In England, we say on the wrong side of the bed. Becky says, I have heard that Diana's grave has kind of gone to ruin. It's being redone. It's being all done up. So, yes, it did, but it is being done up now. And yes, where are Freya, Will and Jamie? Where are they? I do not know. Nina says, I hope we get more pictures of Charlotte's birthday. I don't think we will. I think they would have probably appeared by now. But let's hope we just get some more pictures of Charlotte in the future. Yes, we have a few of our regulars missing tonight, and we are missing them. So let's hope that they're back for next week. Now, speaking of next week, that is one thing I do need to talk about. And if I just pop to my diary. So next week, and I did say this in last week's chat, that I will not be doing a live chat on Saturday because it's Eurovision. And I must confess, I do love Eurovision. And it's on pretty much the same time as I do my live chat. And I am not missing Eurovision for the world. So I've rescheduled the chat because I can't bear to miss my chat either. So I've rescheduled it for 10 o'clock GMT, so the same time, but on the Friday evening, not Saturday. So Friday the 12th of May will be the live chat. The week after, it will go back to normal. But just for next week only, it will be Friday at 10 o'clock GMT, not Saturday. And that's because of Eurovision. Now, I haven't decided whether I want to do a bit of a live stream reaction video of me watching Eurovision, which will be the same time as the live chat would have been. So I'm not undecided whether to do that or not, but you know, if you want to check it out, I may be doing it. I may put an announcement on Twitter and Facebook, or you could just turn up as usual and I might be there. But then again, I might not. So I need to wait and see whether I think it's a good idea closer to the time. Dawn says, wish I could revert back to the past family name of Buckingham. If there wasn't, it wasn't a royal name of Buckingham. There was the Duke of Buckingham, who built what was Buckingham House. So Buckingham House, which became Buckingham Palace under Queen Victoria, started off as a fairly modest house on the outskirts of London, as it was then, for the Duke of Buckingham to get some clean, fresh air. And it incorporated lots of swampland, which was drained, and that became Mayfair and all the rest of it. So the Duke of Buckingham lived in Buckingham House, and it later became Buckingham Palace, but it wasn't a royal family name as such. Becky says, can you say hi to my husband, Roger, who came here from a Derby party? Hello to Roger, and welcome to the live chat. So a big hello to Becky's husband, Roger. Nancy says, so is Charles divorcing Camilla? No, that is a fake news story. Kimberly says, I didn't ask last week, but what is Eurovision? It's a long-standing, it's been on every year for about 40 years, maybe even longer. And it's a singing competition. So every country enters an act in Europe. Well, not every country, there is a selection process now because the countries in Europe have grown. So there's a selection process, but the UK is always in it because we partly fund it. We're a big contributor to the funding. And it's a song competition, and countries enter, and it's shown all across Europe at the same time, so we all watch it together. And then at the end of the competition, there's a vote. And in the UK, it's seen as a little bit of a naff event that we kind of don't take very seriously, and we like to laugh at it, and we like to be a little bit critical of it, but we enjoy being critical of it. And I've always enjoyed it. I've always watched it. So if I do a live stream, it will be me poking fun at the other European acts. And there's lots of political voting in it. So, you know, neighbouring countries vote for other neighbouring countries, and they give all the points to their neighbours. And in the UK, we kind of laugh at it because it's fairly predictable. But it is good fun. There's lots of glitz and glamour. Interestingly enough, for some strange reason, Australia is in it now. Of course, they're not part of Europe, but they are part of the Commonwealth. And they were invited in it a few years ago, and I think they've been accepted to be in it every year from now on. So I do love Eurovision, and I will be watching it on Saturday, and I'm not sure if I'll be doing a video on it. Steve says, wasn't the Duke of Buckingham a favourite of the King? I do believe so. And Dawn says, yes, he was a Stafford, the third Duke of Buckingham. A1 says, NBC, just Google Kenworth. Yes, he's got a new Diana documentary, and I think a book coming out as well. And I can't wait to read the book and see the documentary. Nancy says, when Charles becomes king, is Camilla going to be queen consort? Yes, it's basically the law. Unless there's a change in law, she will be queen consort. And although it was intended for her to be princess consort, the word intend has always been intend. It's not been a definite. By law, she's queen consort, and that's what she will be, unless there's a change in law. Michelle says, why is there loud music? There's no loud music from my end. Steve says, are you going to watch the play Charles III, and what's your view on it? Well, again, until I see it, or if I see it, I can't really comment on it. So we're going to have to... In fact, I'm not entirely sure where it's even playing. Is it London? Kimberly says, I hope you do. Dawn says, Duke of Buckingham was a favourite until he got beheaded. Oops, he wasn't a favourite then. But maybe he was a favourite up until he got beheaded. Our ancestors were very fickle. Loretta says, offhand, do you know what percentage of the British population has royal blood? Well, if you go back far enough, probably lots and lots and lots. But I don't know if there even is an official percentage of it. Again, that would probably be speculation through the extrapolation of data and population growth and concentration of that growth, of which areas people are from. Becky says, I know tomorrow night will be so sad for those of us that loved Diana. MSNB says, the actor who plays Charles in Charles III died. Oh no, I didn't know that. Kimberly says, you should post some of your mum and grandmother's recipes. It would be great for your viewers across the pond. Maybe I should. My nan was quite a good cook. Noreen says, I wish I had an American pen pal. Well, there's plenty for you to choose from. Who would like to be Noreen's pen pal? Get in touch with Noreen. I like to be uniting people. That was another one of my aims of making these live chats. Oh, it's going to be on telly. There you go. So yes, I will be watching it, and I will give you my view on it when it's out. What channel is it going to be on? Oh, there you go. Becky wants to be Noreen's pen pal. And Nancy, there you go. You're going to have lots of pen pals now. Nancy says, would a Canadian one do? I'm sure a Canadian one would be great. Okay, I think we're having a bit of a pen pal exchange. I love it. Dawn says, we'll have to catch up later. Hockey game just went into overtime here. True Canadian. Have to watch. Well, I'm sure I can't compete with the hockey. But have a great time and see you next week on Friday. Noreen says, please add me. Canadians welcome too. And Teresa says, hi. So hello to Teresa. And again, goodbye to Dawn. Teresa says, you look a lot like a former friend of mine. Do I? Well, let's hope you thought he was good looking. Okay, so unless we have any really pressing questions, I think we pretty much spoke about everything from this week. So just to let you all know again, oh, Norman says, I love this channel. Thank you very much. As I was saying, I think we've pretty much come to the end of this chat tonight. We spoke about everything that's happened in the week. And let's hope next week will be as eventful. So in the next week's chat, just to let you know again, Friday. So I really hope to see you all on Friday. I will post some reminders on the internet too. Oh, Steve says Charles III begins on BBC Two next week on a Wednesday. That'll be really good because I don't have a lot to watch on Wednesdays. So I will actually make a note of that after the chat and set my recorder. Okay, so I'm going to end the chat tonight. Remember Friday, because I really don't want to miss everyone, and I don't want to be here on my own. That would be really terrible if I turned up and it was only me because everyone forgot that it wasn't going to be Saturday. So next week, Friday, 10 o'clock, same time, please be there. And if you want to become one of my patrons on Patreon, please take a look there. You will get some exclusives, behind the scene sneak peeks, and you will also get some great rewards. So all that's left for me to say is, from me in Shropshire, I hope you all have a fantastic week and goodbye.